What happens when you wake up one day and realize you just don't feel like yourself anymore? You're not sure what's changed, but something has. The spark, the steadiness, even the way you feel in your own skin. For Gina Jeffreys, that realization was the beginning of a much deeper journey, one that would change how she saw herself, her relationships, and her life. Welcome to All About You. I'm Dr. Shauna Watts, GP and women's health advocate. Each week, I bring you evidence-based conversations to support women in midlife. Today, I'm joined by someone many Australians know and love, Gina Jeffreys. Gina is a trailblazer in Australian country music, the first female artist in the genre to achieve platinum album sales, and she now co-hosts The Breakfast Show on Star 104.5, where her warmth, wit and honesty brighten up mornings across the Central Coast. But today she's joining me not as a performer or a radio host, but as a woman who's been through one of the biggest transformations of her life. Beyond the microphone, Gina has been navigating a deeply personal journey through menopause, one that's reshaped her understanding of identity, emotion, and balance. We're talking about menopause, how it changed her, what it taught her, and how she found herself again through it all. By the end of this episode, you'll learn about Gina's personal journey and experiences through menopause, symptoms of the perimenopause, including some of the lesser talked about ones like changes to your own skin, and what help is available if you or someone you know is struggling with these changes. Remember, this is general information only and not personal medical advice. Always consult your own healthcare provider for guidance. Gina, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
I am so excited to finally have you here. We've had lots of conversations over the last few months and I've loved getting to know you. I'm dying for my audience to get to know you better, though many of them, of course, will already know the very famous Gina Jeffreys. But I've got to know you not anything to do with your music, but more to do with your journey, I suppose, as a woman, navigating all the transitions and changes in life. Can we start by jumping a little bit back and tell me a little bit about your perimenopause and menopausal journey?
It's been really tough until I met you. So looking back now that I know stuff from being around you and going to some of your events and stuff, I had really, really bad periods as a kid. And I'd be out touring and be on the side of the stage just lying down in such pain, and I'd have to jump up and do a concert. I remember being at the Golden Guitar Awards one night and I was probably 23 in Tamworth, like the biggest event in country music in Australia. And I'm just in tears on the side of the stage, and then suck it up and walk back out and sing, and then get off and go out the back and cry with all pain and so severe periods and lots of blood and just hideous.
But isn't that the generation we grew up with? Because like period pain is not what are they meant to be painful? Like that, even I have to say, even that was how I grew up. And it's only in the later stage of my life gone, actually, no, it's actually not meant to be like that.
And my best friend Natalie and I both were the same. And so we would talk about it. And we just thought it was normal. We'd never spoke to any other friends. If we had spoken a little wider, we would have realised actually ours is pretty extreme. So she went on to have some surgery. I went on to then try and get pregnant, and it was very difficult to get pregnant. We tried for Jackie, our son, for quite a few years, and eventually fell pregnant naturally just as we'd signed up to IVF, and I'd taken in Rod's little specimen jar, like hid it under here like I was doing a drug deal or something.
Keeping it warm?
Yeah, keeping it warm, and handed it over, and we got pregnant that week. Then after Jackie, we tried again for a couple of years, and we ended up doing IVF for a couple of years, and it nearly broke us as a couple. It was awful. Then I finally met a lovely gynecologist who had a look and said, "You have so much wrong. I think that we'll probably have to do a hysterectomy, but I need to just have a little look in first." And my next appointment with her, she said, "I've never seen anything like you. I had fibroids, endometriosis through everywhere inside, polyps, cysts, everything that could go wrong."
You just wanted it all.
I know. And she said, "Well, you have to do a full hysterectomy. I have half an ovary left." I remember going in for the scan, and my mum waited outside in the car, and I walked out and just burst into tears because the young guy who did my internal exam to see what was wrong initially just went, "Oh my God, you have to have this is terrible. You have to have a full hysterectomy." The young guy doing my exam, not even the gynecologist yet, told me that, and I had no idea. Burst into tears, got in the car with Mum and said, "The young." Whatever his name of his
The
job is.
ultrasonographer, and those are so
Yes.
tricky anyway because, you're having a scan and something's up
It was
inside you.
awful
It's not the
anyway.
nicest experience.
And that's how I first learnt that was going to have to happen, and burst into tears. And we lost the IVF baby that I got pregnant with on my 39th birthday. It was a horrific time in our life as a couple, and it was just awful. And then found out, so I was 40, maybe very early 40s when I had to have this full hysterectomy except for half an ovary. And I remember saying, what now after? And do I need to be on hormone replacement therapy? What do I do? What am I supposed to do? And I didn't get given any information that was helpful. I think my GP put me on a little sticker that I put on my tummy, like Estradot or something like that,
Okay.
with no information.
In the days when we actually could get patches in Australia.
Yeah, but no information to go with it. And I struggled. So that was, now I'm 57 and I met you earlier this year. So just as I turned 57. So I had 16 years of horrible, like not knowing what to do, hot. I remember one time I said to my beautiful stepdaughter, would it be weird if I just put my head in the pool? And because I was so hot, and she goes, kind of would be weird, but I was just hot all the time, and Rod not being able to touch me in bed because I was so hot, and so emotional and cranky and unreasonably upset over. I remember I went into Jackie's school one time and sat with the deputy principal for about 2 hours because I was devastated that a child was being bullied. But she couldn't get rid of me, and the actual principal came in and went, "Are you okay?" And me not realizing I'd been in her office crying over something that I should have really been able to cope with. It wasn't even my child. And then looking back, I realized how out of control I was emotionally.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but what was happening to me, and not realizing. I just kept thinking, well, surely this will end soon and I'll be right and I'll come out the other side. And I only really came out of the other side once I met you, and you told me what I needed to do, did blood tests, and actually told me what's going to help.
Well,
And
16 years is a long time
is
to
that
be
a long
waiting
one?
to be coming out the other side. I mean, you're a very patient person
Yeah.
to have put up with that, to be honest. So you were feeling hot, very emotional. Were you able to sleep?
No, terrible sleep, cranky, tough on our marriage. Just I'm a kind, placid
You are.
person naturally. So I think that personality helped us ride through such a difficult time. But yeah, lack of sleep, tired, painful sex, not feeling like it, like the old days, and just everything, like all the wheels kind of fell off, and having no idea what I could have done to have helped it. So yeah, I don't know what the other symptoms, because I could tick yes to everything.
Yes,
probably.
of course. Well, did you feel rage? Did you feel like you got angry?
Yes.
Or things that were a bit over, like you were like, oh, that was a bit over the top, and then you felt really guilty afterwards?
Yeah, in the car, I travel just a little below the speed limit. I'm a super careful, not super confident driver, not aggressive. I'd be in the car going, and lucky they couldn't hear what I was saying because I was swearing at people in the car, and hopefully they couldn't see me. And also I remember being at like Coles getting groceries, and I'd be like, if a little old lady pulled in front of me, I'd be like, could I run into the back of her? Or, these things are running through my head like I would never do, but I was just like, how dare you push in front of me in the grocery? And that's not my personality one bit, to feel that rage. I don't think I raged too much at Rod, because Rod, my husband's very placid and he's my calm, so it put a lot of pressure on us early on. Like the marriage was tough when we lost the baby, and around that start of that time, that was very difficult for us. But we worked through all of that, and he's a good balance for me. But yeah, rage, hot, everything.
Did you know what was going on, or were you putting it down to grief and just the lifetime stress, or
Yeah.
or were you able to go, I think this is to do with my hormones?
I didn't connect that at all. I put a lot of it early on down to grief. Then one time I swapped from the estradiol to something one of my friends was on, who didn't have any partial ovary like I had. So her whatever she was on that I'd asked my doctor, please give this to me. He did, and that was when I was over the top when I went into the school and cried over someone else's child. Thinking back through it all, it was horrible, really. And I somehow I survived, and somehow I still functioned as an adult. But I don't know if this is the thing, but does it still ebb and flow a little bit like when you were premenstrual, when you had your periods?
Definitely in perimenopause,
Yeah.
it can, and probably that's what you were in for at least part of it, because that little bit of an ovary that you had probably would have limped along for a little while.
Yeah.
But the thing about perimenopause is you can have periods of time where you're feeling awful and have all the symptoms, and then usually just when you're about to get into the doctor, I would say,
Yeah.
the next thing you know, it all clicks back into place and you're kind of like, oh, the hot flushes have stopped and I'm actually not feeling so bad. So there can just be periods of time whenever it feels dreadful, and then there can be, parts of the time that you are probably having a reasonably normal cycle and it's okay. So I always say that the only consistency is the inconsistency.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard as well when you've had that surgical hysterectomy and you don't know, because there's no period to track. So you don't really know where you are. You're like, am I perimenopausal? Am I through the menopause? Like, where even am I? And that can feel really challenging as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time as well, people have maybe had their hysterectomy like you did in your early 40s. But then what does that mean? Like, people get confused. Does that mean that I'll still have menopause when I'm on average 50, or does it mean I'm going to have it earlier? So I think there is definitely a lot of confusion out there, and confusion about when you should start hormones or not,
Yeah.
depending on what you want to do. Do you feel like it impacted your ability to work during that time?
When you say with the grief, it was very mixed up with the grief. So I pulled out of the music industry around about that time because I didn't want people to see me sad, I think. Fortunately, Jackie, it kind of coincided that, fortunately, it's not fortunate at all. He was very car sick as a little kid, so we couldn't take him with us preschool, which was part of my plan, was to keep touring, and we couldn't. So I pulled out of my work like I was doing previously because I just couldn't face the world, and I didn't want people to ask me any questions, and so definitely affected my work in that way. My work's not a 9-to-5 job. It's not a normal kind of a thing. I think it certainly would have if I had a regular job, but I was in a position where I could stop, and I wanted to be a full-time mum as well. I wanted to be at every cricket game and every football game, and I wanted to be the one reading Jackie bedtime stories, and it kind of matched up my picture of how I was going to parent as well, fortunately anyway. But yeah, very hard to combine being super emotional with being a singer. But somehow I learned how, because I still did tour a little bit through there, I would learn, cry backstage, get on, put on the makeup, put on the face, and nobody would have known what was going on behind the scenes. The emotional side kind of helps write songs.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, we wrote a song called Milestones about losing the baby because Jackie's best friend's mum got pregnant at the same time. So I used to get to see him learn how to crawl, and then I saw him walk, and then even now he's in HSC, and makes me think, well, our baby would have been that age. So that was difficult. It was therapy in itself as well, but that was a pretty difficult thing to combine with. I've also been chucked into perimenopause or whatever it was, this nightmare that was happening. And there were moments of great, obviously, as well, but things, you just don't know what to expect. That's something else I just remembered too, because after we lost the baby on my 39th birthday, I was so stressed. I went down to a size 8. I was pushing to be a size 8. I lost 20, 22 kilos, kind of just like that. And also no longer had estrogen. So I remember my skin as well, just, all of a sudden, I'd never had kind of wrinkles or any skin problems at all. But then I felt like, I'd lost that elasticity in my skin, and I felt like I aged, kind of like that. And I put it kind of down to the stress of what had happened to us. But estrogen, right? It does
Uh,
touch your skin.
Absolutely. And I think, for so long, everyone's put estrogen in a bit of a box that it's just about having a baby, egg production, and getting pregnant.
Yeah.
But, estrogen is important in our hair, our skin, even helps you make good tears for your eyes. And so the symptoms are literally from head to toe. But
Yeah.
like you said, so many women will say to me, I feel like I've aged overnight.
Yes.
I don't recognize myself in the
Yeah.
mirror anymore. Like, what is going on with my skin? It's so dry. It's so sensitive. I even had a lady in the other day and she said, oh, I used to be the girl who could walk through Myer or David Jones and like try a little bit of everything. And she said,
Yeah.
no, my face just stings with everything I put on it.
Yes.
And that is all related to this change in hormones. And I just love that we are trying to get it out there now that, we have to think about this as a whole body change
That's right.
and a whole body set of symptoms instead of thinking about it just as like, oh, well, you don't have a period anymore and you might have a hot flash.
It's way
'Cause
more
that's
than
not
that.
what it is.
And you don't realize, I think, well, me for sure, I didn't realize it had anything to do with my skin or my sex drive or everything else that kind of falls apart around that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so much to unpack there, and I would love to, if you don't mind, because there's a lot of things that you've had to navigate in your relationship, and we see a lot of relationships under massive strain at this time. And of course, we're not just blaming it all on hormones, because of course there's many reasons, but we do see a lot of relationships end at this time. But also people who navigate IVF, that puts a huge pressure. Lots of, unfortunately, relationships break down under the pressure of IVF. I'd love you to give me a little bit of an insight as to how you guys, because you navigated basically, IVF, bereavement, loss of and grief for a future that hadn't happened, but that you dreamt of having
Yeah.
a sibling for Jackie. And then, of course, there's all the grief around what on earth is going on with your body and the person that you once knew. So much.
It's awful. Yeah, so originally, even with me trying to get pregnant for Jackie, and it was difficult, and my husband Rod already had 2 children from a previous marriage. So I'm blaming myself. There's something wrong with me. And then I blamed myself that it's because I'm stressing out so much about getting pregnant. That's causing me not to get pregnant. All those things that happened where I really, really blamed myself for all of that. The IVF journey was horrific because if me as premenstrual back then, multiply that by 100 for how cranky IVF made me with those hormones, and Rod did the injections, and it really, that period of our life very nearly broke us up. Like,
Yeah.
I'm surprised that we made it through with the pressure that the expense of it. It was so expensive.
And everything riding, like you feel like your whole life is riding on
yes,
what's going to happen. Is it going to work? Is it going to take? And what does it mean about you if it doesn't?
that's right. And for me to be, my husband already has done it twice. For me,
So it must be your
it
fault.
must be my fault. So that was unbelievably difficult to go through that. And without, I remember they had like a counselor lady in there but it was just, I don't feel like there was the support around that I really needed. My husband, after we'd been through that and lost the baby and then tried again, and he buried his, men and women grieve so differently. He buried his head in work and he just didn't face how much it hurt. And I cried. I think I cried for 6 months, cried every day. My mum had to come over and help parent Jackie because I just couldn't cope.
What age was Jackie at this stage?
4 or 5, because we started trying when he was like 2. So yeah, he was little. He was preschool, kindergarten. No, preschool they call it here. I come from Queensland, but before he started school, it was in that age. So that was super difficult. And I used to say to him, because I'm a real positive affirmation manifesting human and have been from, for years and years. And I would say to him every night when I'd put him to bed, I would ask him, what are your 3 favorite things from today? Tell me what you love. And he'd go, Nana, Poppy, guitar, or, he'd rattle all this stuff off as a little fella. And then I would say, we'd pray for a baby. And I feel awful that I put him through that as well as little. Every night we'd, hold hands and close our eyes, and I'd go, let's just, wish for a baby. And eventually I saw this, I can't believe I'm getting through this without crying. I saw this sign as you're driving right near where we live. There was a church that had signs, nice signs,
like inspirational kind of signs.
And it said, happiness is loving what you already have. And it hit me like a freight train, because I was like, we have the most beautiful little boy. He's just the love of our life, and we have each other. And when do you stop asking for more? When do you hit that point where, well, we're actually pretty lucky? And that was the point. I saw that and I was like, okay, I'm actually pretty lucky. And then Rod and I decided, rather than to be cranky with the IVF doctor, most likely, I'm not a doctor, but he would have seen everything that was wrong inside, all those fibroids and everything. I think I had a very hostile environment for
to grow a baby.
Yes, is what I think. Because I used to get to day, even before we started trying, I'd get to a day about 38, 39, and I'd go, shit, Rod, we're pregnant, shit, because we'd be out touring. And that's back when I was touring Australia 6 nights a week for 6 weeks at a time, and I'd be kicking myself going, shit. And then I'd have a heavy bleed. And I think I had many little mini, almost pregnant things happening along the way. And then when this happened, I could have been really angry with that doctor, because I'm sure he could see that there was stuff wrong and this was going to be difficult to get me pregnant. I don't know. But we decided, instead of let's not do that, let's be grateful for what we have. And once I did that little flick inside my head that I'm so lucky to have Jackie. Imagine if we didn't get Jackie, and he's just the best human ever. Changing to the gratitude. And I ended up doing counseling and hypnotherapy and everything possible, because I didn't want to be broken for the rest of my life, because I had cried for 6 months. And really, Rod would hop in bed with me every night and say, are you okay? And I'd go, not yet. And then like a year, I'm not yet, but better than I was. And it was 10 years before I could say, I'm okay. And Rod would always say to me at night in bed, darling, you're my favourite. It's just a thing we say. And I used to always say, you're my second favourite, because Jackie's my favourite. And now that Jackie's grown up, and it's been a few years now that I can also say back to him, you're my favourite too. But I couldn't say it with all my heart because my child, actually. But to get to that
all
point,
the mums listening will get that.
Yes. Yeah, but now that, we're almost empty nesting, we're almost onto the empty nest, we are sort of more focused on each other, and which is lovely. But I don't know how we survived, how our marriage survived it. To be honest, it was hideous in so many different ways, and coping with the industry and coping with just everything around it was awful. And I don't know, honestly, I look back sometimes and I could have now been married to another man with 2 babies somehow, but we survived it. We navigated it. It was really tough. Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. And now I just feel I didn't recognize myself. I literally didn't recognize myself because I lost so much weight so quickly. I went down to barely could fill a size 8, and I'm 170 centimeters tall, so I'm not short. And so I was tiny out touring, and because by then I'd gone back out on tour with a couple of girlfriends as the Songbirds, which is Becky Cole and Sarah Storer, who are very famous in country music circles. And we were out touring, and they used to call me Skinny Spice because I was skinnier than them. And I realized that skinny doesn't equate happiness.
Yes.
I realized that I was the saddest I've ever been in my whole life, even though, looking probably from the audience, I was early 40s and I never looked better.
And people were thinking you were rocking it.
That's right. They were thinking I was rocking my life and I'm pretending and all that sort of stuff. But it was awful, and it's all came around from my feeling like my body let me down in every way.
You've absolutely nailed what so many women will say to me all the time. They'll say, I'm doing what I've always done. I've eaten how I've always eaten. I'm exercising like how I've always exercised. And what is going on with this? But, you've had that added, I suppose, burden, privilege of a very public life, people scrutinizing not only your performance, but of course how you look. I mean, as women, we seem to be up for more criticism than the equivalent man might be.
Yes.
How has that impacted your journey over the last 16 years and your confidence about performing?
Now that I am back to my goal weight, I definitely feel more myself. So during that time, over the last however many years, a lot of weight crept on. I'd put on 15 or 16 kilos. I didn't want to go to events. I didn't want to do shows. I didn't want to do a concert because when you're in the public eye, people have a photo of you from last time they saw you, or a photo that a makeup artist and a stylist were in the room with me, and I looked a lot slimmer than I actually was. And I always had that fear of people, I haven't seen her, God, she's aged, God, she's put on weight, which is what we sometimes all, when we walk away from someone we haven't seen in a while, Rod and I will say, oh gee, he looks a bit older than the last time we saw him. And I said to Rod, that they're saying the same thing about us. But yeah, when you're in the public eye, it's different again because they literally have this journal of what you looked like last time, a year ago when they saw you. So that definitely, the weight gain that happened pre-meeting you, from doing the same thing, I was still eating pretty healthy. Though menopause too, for me, pre-meeting you would make me go, man, cheese platter for dinner sounds great. I can have another glass of wine. Like I lost a bit of the filter of normally I was always quite strict and healthy, and that's how I kind of stayed in shape when we were touring all the time. But menopause made me go, meh, yep, don't worry about dinner. Let's just have a cheese platter and let's have chocolate. The rules that I usually put around myself just fell off.
I feel like I digress slightly, but I remember one of my friends who had her oldest child was the same age as mine, and I was like, we'd done like 18 years of healthy food for our kids, and we just couldn't do it anymore. It was just kind of like, I've got no more dinners left in me.
Yes.
I can't think of what else to make. And it was really bad because I clearly had 3 more coming behind, but it was like I was all out of ideas.
Yes.
I was all out of working out if people had enough protein and enough vegetables. And I just couldn't think of what to make anymore.
Exactly.
So cheese platters and buffet style dinner became quite a frequent thing. I reckon there's lots of women out there who feel like that.
Yes.
18 years is a long time to work out someone's nutrition, isn't it? And you just get exhausted.
I know. I know. We're just going through that. Our son Jackie he's not moved out. He's not admitting he's moved out, but he doesn't sleep at our house very much anymore. So I'm very sad about that. And when he comes home, he checks on me all the time, and the hugs are longer, but there's less of them. And so now he's not there for meals. I'm like,
what's the point?
What's the point?
Boiled egg?
Going too much trouble. But since getting to know you and doing your 16-week, it's been amazing for me. I'm eating, and I hadn't realized that eating this well
would make you feel better.
Oh my God, I feel so good. And you know it, to do it. But for me, the menopause veil, that my veil of tolerance for everything just kind of fell off. I'm like, it's like your filter falls off. You'll say stuff more easily, crankier faster, eat whatever. I'm like, meh, 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 and now I'm back to, oh no, I love eating healthy. I feel great drinking all of this water. I feel great also not drinking alcohol every night.
Okay.
So for me, I kind of did, have a glass of wine or 2 or 3 every night. COVID kind of created that a little bit as well. Throw that in the mix. But just how good you feel is quite addictive. And I want to maintain that now and stay healthy and I love being my goal weight again. That's been on my manifestation list for ages. It's like I've got this list of house, car, furniture, whatever those.
You weren't getting Jackie to pray for that one though, were you?
Yes, Jackie, we're going to pray for Mummy to be the right weight she used to be, my goal weight, my old weight I was. And now I'm back to my goal weight and just feeling, now I look in the mirror and I look like me again. My girlfriend and I were talking about it yesterday actually, and she said what she was doing was she would quickly dry herself, don't look in the mirror yet, and get dressed before. She wouldn't stand in the bathroom in the nude to put her makeup on or brush her teeth because she didn't want to see. And I'm like, that was me too. You look in the mirror and who is that person? Because I don't feel like that. Like, who is that person looking back at me? So confidence is coming back, which I am And I'm a pretty confident person, as you know, but it's that personal confidence. It's that confidence in the mood.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the bedroom. And
feeling connected to yourself.
yes. And that's the magical thing that no one has ever told me. All this other stuff, the exercise and the lifting weights and the proper diet and the drinking lots of water and the right hormones and the right vitamins too that you put me on to. I feel like now I've finally tuned, I don't want to say vintage car, not vintage, but I just feel like I'm sort of finally tuned at last and everything's kind of firing.
Tuned Porsche.
It's better.
Talk to me, because I know we have talked about this before. There's all this chatter in this space about going and getting strong and lifting weights. But let's be honest, if you've never done that before in your life, it's daunting, isn't it? Like you and I have talked about it. We're going to go to the gym together.
Yeah.
But walking through the door of a gym as someone who doesn't feel like they're fit
Yeah.
and who doesn't feel like they've ever really lifted weights, it can feel really scary, can't it?
Really scary and intimidating.
And embarrassing. Like you feel
yes.
like, how did I get to this age and I don't know how to do this? And it's, look at all these young ones over there doing it.
I did it when Jackie was in school. I had a girlfriend who was like a trainer, and I would go with her. And that's when I felt like I was kind of got myself back a little bit. That was right leading into my 50th birthday. But that was me going 5 days a week with her and her telling me what to do, which I don't remember any of that at all on my own. So then when I got my job on breakfast radio, I really found it hard to find a groove. And where I work on the radio station, across the road, there's a gym. Like it's right there. And I looked at it and I thought, it would be easy to go there because it's right here and I've already got a park and I'm already here anyway. Takes out one of the steps of making it difficult. So one day I sat in my car and I went, "Not do it." Gathered up the courage to go in and talk to somebody, and the door was locked. And in my head, because I couldn't really see in, I thought everybody's probably looking out of the glass going, "Look at that loser. She can't even get in the door." That feeling. And also when you get into a gym and there's the young girls with their gorgeous little midriffs out and, looking all hot and there's all these guys, super muscly and it's a bit sweaty and all that sort of stuff. I just didn't want that as well. And, you introduced me to Cassie, who actually came to the gym with me and showed me what to do. And I've got a little thing. There's an app on your phone now, as you know. You can watch the video if you're not sure how to do it. So I just go in there and I'm like, "How do you do that one again?" And I just press on the video and I know what to do and specifically for my body and what I should be doing. And now I've got my confidence up. I'm not even looking at the app. And I'm only going twice a week, to be honest, because I still love my walks with my girlfriends. And I like a walk on my own to listen to a podcast, listen to you.
Oh.
And I really love that because I love to learn as I'm walking and I love to touch leaves and breathe in spring and all that sort of stuff. I find it really good for my mental health.
Of course.
But to go and lift and push weights twice a week, and I do a class as well. It's way too hard for me at the moment. And I'm just kind of always looking for the door to run and leave. But once I do it, it's just, you feel so good. But I'd recommend just push through, go. And there's so many other women in there. Once you get in there and you're thinking, what if I'm next to the 18-year-old who's so hot and I just feel frumpy and I'm not in the right tights or whatever it is? You get in there and you look around the room and there's other women just like you who are nervous to be in there, who, your age or a bit older, and everyone's actually quite nice. And I don't know if there's been a bit of a shift. It's the gym that I'm going to, but there are lots of women in there like me. Whereas I have in the past been in and it's all young and all, very buff and very intimidating.
Yeah.
I think you just got to find the right gym that has that environment.
Yeah. Get the right vibe and the right tribe kind of thing.
Yes.
And I think as well, it is about kind of just being honest and saying, look, probably that first 15 minutes will be maybe a bit uncomfortable. You might feel a bit awkward, and let's not pretend that it's not going to be.
Yeah.
And then if you can just say to yourself, if you can just last those first 15 minutes,
yes,
you're unlikely to regret it.
Exactly.
But I think so many of us, if we're not going to feel comfortable from the first moment, then we're not going to do it.
Yes.
And then that just, it makes it so impossible to try anything new.
Yes, that's right. Go in, just do it. Do it. Says me who I actually took 4 years from that time that I knocked on the door to go back in, and I just was too nervous. But yeah, now that I'm doing it, I just rock in there. I still, I'm still not a gym junkie. It's not my comfortable, really, really comfortable spot, but you just feel so good. You put your headphones in, listen to some music, listen to a podcast, or join a class. I find the class is really motivating. And I take the producer from the radio show with me. And if he's not going, I go, come on, come with me. And I'll make him come. Or he'll go, come on, and we'll go together.
I think it's so good to have someone because they're going to
Yes.
keep you accountable, aren't they?
That's the thing. And that makes you brave to walk in the door too, if you have got a friend who you
Everyone
can-
needs a sidekick.
Absolutely. And then we laugh and, we have a lot more fun. But one day I did go on my own and they paired me up with this lady who I didn't know. She was so lovely and we had the best time. And she was quite similar to me, like a bit intimidated by it, but had been going a little bit longer than me. And I was like, actually, I think I will be okay without Pablo, my producer now, if I do have to go without him.
Pablo.
Yeah.
Gina, you've also touched a bit on something which a lot of women find hard to talk about, which is the genital urinary symptoms of menopause. So vaginal dryness, needing to run to the loo all the time, and just how that can really impact intimacy. And that alongside libido seeming to have gone on holiday, never to return. And you've been really honest about that. I would just love to touch on, are you feeling that things are a bit better and that you're feeling more comfortable? And is there hope for women who are listening who are thinking, I'm never going to feel like sex again, or it's never going to be nice again?
Yeah, absolutely. So testosterone, which you put me on, it wasn't overnight, but after a period of time, I definitely felt the sex drive coming back. Or even because you get to the point where, because, once I'd hit, see, it was menopause, wasn't any sooner, I don't think, where it can hurt. And then you're like, oh, no, if it's going to hurt, I don't really want to do it. So we found other things to do.
Well, why would you want to do something that hurts? Like your brain just goes, why would I?
And that's right. And your husband sometimes can't tell the difference between, oh, that hurts feel, or that feels good. That sound that can come out accidentally. So, I have told, and he's very beautiful, but that you can get help for that. And also I wee a lot. So I'm getting up 2 or 3 times a night. And because I'm on breakfast radio now, I'm up at 4:30 every day. So sleep is very important to get a bunch of sleep. Fortunately, I can go to sleep pretty well after every time I get up. I go
So
back
what
to
on
sleep.
earth time do you go to bed at night?
I am sort of at 8:30, but asleep by 9:30-ish in there. I can't go too much earlier because I won't sleep.
Right, okay.
And it's the opposite, because as a singer, I used to be on stage at 9.
Yeah.
That was my stage time, and now it's my
Your circadian rhythm must
my
be like,
bedtime.
what's that?
Yeah, what's going on? So it's completely the opposite for me. So sleep's another thing that I'm getting better at. But the wee thing, and I've been to see Katie, beautiful. What did they call?
So Cassie, who went to the gym with you, she's an exercise physiologist.
Yes.
And then Katie is a pelvic floor physiotherapist.
So I had no idea that this even existed. And one of my girlfriends had been to see a pelvic floor physiotherapist. And she said, they're going to do an internal examination. I went, wait, what? Who now? What? And I'm so glad she told me, because imagine if you go into a physio thinking we're going to talk about your posture and all those things. And
Check
then
your back.
yes. And then and I knew, and obviously you signed something, and I realized that you do learn that when you get there, but I had no idea that was a
So you
thing.
went prepared anyway.
I went prepared. So Katie gave me a jug and a clipboard. So I had to measure what's going in and what's coming out. And I joke about my husband then needed to make some Gatorade. And he said, if we got a jug, I'm like, we have, but she might not want to use it. We threw the jug, but we just went to Kmart. I went to Kmart and bought this jug so I could measure fluid out. I was measuring fluid in a different jug, and kept this clipboard. And we're trying to get some, when am I weeing and how much fluid I'm having, and it's, and to find out, most people might have thought that it's all too loose down there. And you think about the pelvic floor exercises where you suck it in and all that sort of thing. And I think, I don't know, but maybe from being a singer, where you have to have your tummy like that
Oh,
to
you've got
sing
like
and
a
hold
really
up
good
notes.
diaphragm and
I've been
everything.
wondering if I've been sucking it in too hard for too long, and because I've made it very tight.
Right.
So I have the opposite of where most women that I've ever heard of, it was if you're weighing a lot, it's because you haven't got that pelvic floor.
Yes.
And everyone's going,
yes,
are you
it's
doing
too loose, but yours is a bit hypertonic.
Yes,
yours is
yes.
too tight.
So, and I know, Rod, I've joked about this before, but my husband said to me, "You look like you're a million miles away, darling. What are you doing?" And I went, I'm imagining that I'm picking up a blueberry with my vagina."
Was this a Katie
So
exercise?
Katie does that. She said, so that's too tight to like suck it in, kind of. And then she said to loosen it, which is more of what I have to do. You as you breathe in, you imagine a flower is opening. So I'm lying there going, and then suck the blueberry in. But I can't suck the blueberry in too much because I'm already sucking the blueberry in.
Right. Okay. Your blueberry's nearly at the back of your throat.
That's right. But yeah, so I didn't realize that there's help with that as well. And I remember you telling me in one of our earlier appointments is that if we can take care of this now, when you're a little old lady, you won't become incontinent, you won't have to end up in care. And I'm like, I need to fix this because I want to be independent and I don't want we to rule my life. Because, when I'm a lot better than I was, but when I would get home, my body would be like, "Woo, we're going to wait." And I'd be like, "No, no, 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 not yet, not yet, not yet."
Haven't opened the door yet.
Yeah. And I'm opening, I've got the keys in the door and my body's going, "Let's wait." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no." And, so we'd wee a little bit on the way to the toilet. That's a lot better now because of your help. But
And were you guilty of the just in case wee?
Yes.
We have to stop doing the just in case wees, people.
But you learn it as a kid. Did you go, when you're going on a family trip, your mum and dad go,
Everybody
go to the toilet because we're not stopping until we're in Tamworth. And so we kind of teach our children that. But yeah, don't do the just in case wee. I'm always a just in case wee because I know I'll have to do one. I might as well do one here because I don't want to do one at the shops. So I need to stop doing that. And yeah, I'm definitely getting better with the help with that. But I didn't realize this is a part of it as well. It's good being a woman, isn't it?
No, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
A gift that keeps on giving. But yeah, I'm certainly feeling more in control of that. It's a work in progress, but I'm doing the exercises and trying to get better at not weeing as much and no leakage.
And in terms of,
It's very personal, isn't it?
how have you gone with your hormone therapy? What's that been like for you? Has it been good? Has it been a nightmare, slathering yourself in gels and things?
My morning routine, you hear about some women's morning routines and they get up and they cleanse and then they do all the moisture, which I do a bit of that these days too. But then, all these things you got to do. Well, I get up in the morning and I do the gel on this 1.5 of the little sachets of gel. And then I put the testosterone on my little, pea-sized testosterone on my bottom. And then, that's after the shower and then do some skin stuff. And then at nighttime before I go to bed, I have my progesterone and my magnesium, which I think is what's helping me sleep better than I have been. And because that's what you told me. And I definitely can feel I sleep bang, just like that, which I hadn't always. And then twice a week, the vaginal hormones as well of estrogen. So absolutely, I think a lot of it too, it really, really works, but because I trust you so much and I know it feels like you're not just taking a stab in the dark with your GP who's saying, well, I've heard about testosterone for women, try this. Or, I've mentioned at one of your events, my best friend asked her GP because I was on testosterone and I told her how good it was. She'd asked him for it and he said, you need to go to a female doctor. I don't know what I'm doing. And she said, but I know what I want. I want this and I know how much I think that I need. Can you just prescribe it for me? And he said, no, go and see a female doctor. And she told him to get, because she was so unimpressed with his lack of care, lack of even maybe do a quick little Google on it or something, and that she made this appointment to go and see him and she had no help. So I think the thing is with being with a doctor who specializes in this, the trust of knowing you've done the blood test and you know it's right. So whether it's the placebo thing of that as well, I feel so confident that what I'm doing is correct for my body because of you. And I'm noticing massive differences. I am so much better. That, sleeping great. I'm not hot anymore. Sex drive is back. Working on the wee and the pain and all that sort of stuff. That's still a little work in progress, but I can feel so different to how I felt a year ago. It's like it's
Chalk and cheese.
it's chalk and cheese to how I am now. And thank you.
Oh,
It's
it's a pleasure. It's actually not that difficult, to be honest. It's just sitting down with someone and treating them like an individual and then
Yeah.
creating a plan for that person. Because of course, what's relevant for you might not be relevant for your best friend Nellie or
I
whatever,
know. Yeah.
And it's just, and then it's also about that, as you know, and you and I talked about, if you are on testosterone and it's helping, and that's great, but we just knowing that we have to make sure we're regularly monitoring blood tests just to make sure that
Yes.
blood levels aren't going too high and things like that. So it's just, not just sending someone off into the sunset and going, oh, well, just, it's
Yeah,
going to take
there
that
you go.
forever and
Yes.
no one's going to keep a check.
One of my best friends, who is a very big fan of your show, so she'll be listening to this up in Brisbane, she said that she did the follow-up blood test and her testosterone is way too high now, and she's had to really reduce it. And she said that her doctor has said she's a super absorber
Wow.
or something's happened
Yeah.
with her, and she's
Either that or she's been being too generous with her pea size.
well, yeah, maybe she has, but she had said to me that she feels sexually, she feels like a 30-year-old now, and she can't believe the difference with that and the vaginal estrogen.
Yeah.
And she's loving, but she went, oh no, I don't know if I've ever done the testosterone or what's happened, but I'm a super absorber and I don't know if she's off it for a while or she's just really got to reduce how much she's having, but she was a bit devastated because she's loving herself sick.
No, I know. I've had a few patients who, even just on a very low dose, their blood level has gone, a bit higher than we'd like
Yeah.
it to be. And a few of them have loved the feeling. And
Yeah.
I had one lady, she was like, if this is what it feels to be like a man, she was, I want to do this all day. She goes, I'm getting so much done. So, I mean, I'm not recommending, that we give people high blood levels or anything like that. But, for some women, testosterone doesn't do very much and they don't get much of a benefit. And for other women, libido just improves off the charts.
Yeah.
But they just feel more like, libido is more than just sex. Of course, it's, Louise Newson always talks about libido for life. It's having that zest for life again
Yes.
that people feel they've lost.
Yes.
What about your brain? Did you struggle with brain
Oh
fog?
my God. So here I am, I'm doing breakfast radio now. So I'm on there for 3.5 hours in the morning, and you have to be sharp. It feels to me like stage. Like my background is being a country music singer, and as I'm singing, I'm thinking, what will be funny to say next? Look at that person there. I'm going to, I'm planning in my head the show and remembering lyrics and all those kinds of things. And so I felt like you had to be pretty sharp to be an entertainer. And then I get to radio and I'm, midst menopause and I'm just fuzzy. And I'm like, oh, say that. And then by the time it's my turn to talk, I'm going, what was I going to say? I just can't remember. I just lose my train of thought so easily, which you can't do
I'm sure.
on
Like,
breakfast radio show.
there's no second chances.
No, there's no
It's like
second
a deathly silent.
That's right. So that was me navigating that as well. And so I'm writing stuff down and taking notes as I go during the show. But now, I think I've been with you doing this since May. So as of right now, it's 6 or 8 months that I've been feeling fantastic. I'm so much sharper. I'm not as tired. I feel like I'm funnier. I can think of punchlines in the moment faster. I'm retaining. Not great if anyone listens to the show that I'm on. We do this thing every Friday called Have You Been Paying Attention? And have we listened to our own stories and we have to remember back some facts from the week. I usually fail that because I don't remember everything. But
Too many other important stuff in your
well, that's
all
right.
those song lyrics.
Yes.
Maddie doesn't have to do that.
No, that's right. I've got this thing. It's like a nightclub in there. It's one in, one
I'm going to
out.
defend you.
Thank you. But definitely sharper, definitely wittier. Just I feel like my old self. Actually, I don't remember feeling this well in a really long time. And I think probably pre-menopause, you don't necessarily appreciate how it feels to not be tired and hot and forgetful and cranky and all those sorts of things. But I reckon the best I have in at least 10 years. I haven't felt this well. And and the brain fog is one thing that my girlfriends really complain of. It's just so foggy, can't remember, go to the shops and go to grocery shopping and come home without the thing that you went for. Or that thing where I go and put some clothes away in the bedroom, but I've also gone to find my phone charger and I'll come back out and go,
What was I even there for?
What was I there for? And you go up the stairs and come down and go, I have no idea why I just went upstairs. And, now I feel like I'm not having as many of those moments for sure. I'm remembering, though I lose my glasses and my phone all the time still. That doesn't count.
Oh, I was driving home from Newcastle last night and got a phone call from the restaurant that had had dinner with my daughter. And they're like, Shauna, we seem to have your glasses in your glasses case. I was like, I was sure they were on my head. So,
Yeah,
but
that's
anyway,
me all the time. But that's we'll sort that out with technology. I reckon eventually we'll have little beepers on our glasses.
be perfect. Be perfect. This episode is brought to you by my 16-week Rediscover You program, designed specifically for women navigating the challenges of perimenopause and menopause. If you're dealing with disrupted sleep, mood changes, or unexplained weight gain, this evidence-based program combines medical guidance, practical tools, and a supportive community to help you take control of your health. Women have reported significant improvements in symptom management of sleep quality and overall well-being. As an All About You listener, when you mention the podcast, you'll gain priority access for our next intake. Click the link in the show notes to learn more and join. I'd love to help you rediscover the vibrant, confident version of yourself. As you know, in part of my program, I love to get my patients who are on a bit of a weight loss journey to have a whole body analysis at the beginning and the end.
Yes.
So that we can see where we're going and making sure we're not losing too much muscle. How did you find having that scan? Was it okay?
Yeah. I didn't know what to expect, the DEXA scan. So, you lie down just like you're going to have, other scans that we've done in the past with broken bones or whatever. And I was lying there and then I sat up and the beautiful girls in there take you through. There's a photo of you for a start, like a cartoon kind of outline of
all the colors.
Yeah, your bone and your muscle and your fat. And I stupidly took it into the breakfast radio show thinking this will make great content. And my breakfast partner, Maddie, said, well, what's all the yellow? And I went, that's fat. Thank you very much. So there was more fat there than I thought. And I think that's the thing we don't realize, the visceral fat that you can't see. I mean, I can see and feel fat that wasn't there before, but you don't realize what's there. And I found that super motivating to go, actually, that's more than I was thinking. There's more yellow than I had ever thought. And it was good to see my bones are great and my muscle was great. So to have that nice starting point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then I went back probably 3 months later or something and had it done again, and there's much less yellow. So there's a lot less fat. There's still some there, and I like to see. It's very motivating because it's all about how you feel and how your clothes fall and all that, of course. But to actually physically see what your body's doing was very motivating, and that was for me. Some of my girlfriends will go, well, I don't want to look like a model, and I'm in my 50s and I'm happy. But once you see what's actually going on internally in your body, you're like, yeah, I don't want to look like a model either, and I'm pretty happy with my body too. However, I don't want that much fat, and I do want to know my muscle and my bone is good on this weight loss journey. You don't want to lose muscle and stuff. And if you can keep an eye on that, and it's not even that expensive.
No,
to get it done.
No, they're like $70 or $80.
It's so worth it. So you've got that. I really want my husband to do it because he's got a little bit of a tummy, and I just want him to see, because once you see that, because you sit around whatever weight, and I think that too, your weight is different in menopause.
Yeah, 100%. And it's also like weight doesn't tell the whole story.
No.
I think that's what the scan does really beautifully.
Yes.
Is actually tell you what the whole story is.
Yes.
Because they're also like, interestingly, I had another lady just yesterday who had a scan, and look, she's very, very slightly overweight. Like she's only just, but yet she had a very high body fat content. And they sometimes call it like fat skinny kind of thing.
Yes.
And it was very, very interesting because she had a lot of visceral fat. And whenever we're talking about fat, everyone knows about fat that sits under your skin. And I know that can be annoying, and sometimes it looks a little bit lumpy in your clothes or whatever, but actually that type of fat is not that worrying. It mightn't look super nice that you don't like it, but It's not metabolically active. It's this visceral fat, which seems to be a completely different type of fat. It's all around your liver and your heart and your organs, and it's what we call metabolically active. And it's causing a lot of inflammation. And I mentioned the other day we're hearing this word inflammaging. So it's like a combination of aging and inflammation. And we now know that a lot of the reasons that people are getting heart disease or type 2 diabetes as we age is because of this inflammaging, and this visceral fat seems to be, like, I suppose in really simple terms, causing release of all these inflammatory chemicals in your body. And so that's one of the reasons why we really want to focus on trying to get rid of that visceral fat. So even if Rod isn't particularly overweight, but he's got this belly fat, then that can be still the person who goes on to have a heart attack, and everyone's like, oh wow, well that's really surprising. He wasn't overweight and he didn't smoke and he didn't do this. But it's that visceral fat. And that's one of the reasons that I do it. And I think, as you said, it's also quite motivating, isn't it?
Totally motivating, because then you're really doing it for your health. You're not doing it for what you look like, and it is a shock, really. That first one you get is a bit of a shock.
Yeah, it's a wake-up call. And for some people, it's a wake-up call because their bones aren't good and they need to focus on their bones, or they've got really low muscle mass, and then that's their issue. So I think, again, it's going to give you a very individual motivation.
Yes.
Gina, you and I have talked about this before. Like, we're in this information age. In fact, I think we're bombarded by too much information. Everyone's watching reels and videos and podcasts and watching YouTubes, and people know more than ever. I mean, the reality is, I read something recently that the average 14-year-old is shown more information in a day than people in 1920 received in a lifetime.
Are you kidding?
And I'm just like, wow, this is unreal.
Yeah.
And it's probably information overload. But I think the reality is that, we all know what we're meant to do to lose weight. We all know what we're meant to do exercise-wise. But what has felt different this time, and how do you think you've managed to make such leaps and bounds with your sort of reinvention nearly?
Yeah, well, I've lost to this day 16 kilos since I first met you, with Mounjaro, obviously medically, which has been fantastic, because it turns off that food noise I just feel like, because I think in hindsight, I was constantly thinking about my next meal, constantly thinking, and while I'm eating dinner, I'm thinking, what am I going to have after dinner?
And will I have something after dinner? And is that really greedy if I have something after dinner? And what does that say about me? And what are other people going to think of me?
All of that. And I just ate more than everybody else. Oh my God. Or, that constant. And now I've eaten, chocolate and chips. I've ruined it. I might as well just eat.
Leave it all in, yeah.
Yeah, I've blown it now. So all that food noise is gone. But I think the point of difference this time is having that scan and seeing what's actually going on in my body, and the motivation of that. Obviously, medical help, because like I said to you earlier, menopause for me made me go, meh, I don't care. I don't have a cheese platter. I'm fine. I really lost that caring as much, and also I was super stressed, and I deserve it, and sure, we can have a cheese platter, and absolutely I'll have an ice cream, which I don't even really like ice cream, and I'd be having that as well. So I think that psychologically it's different, and now just with the kickstart of being on Mounjaro, that's turned off that. For the first time ever, I actually understand how come skinny people are skinny. Those people that you see that never ever put on any weight ever, because they're not constantly thinking about food. And that was the difference for me in that. So I got a little bit of hay fever. That was the difference for me, was I've turned that off, because I did think about food a lot. But feeling so well as well, sleeping, like I sleep great. So everything kind of, it's the combination of everything. You can't sort of say it's the one thing. And I think that a lot of people who might go on to injections to lose weight, and I've noticed people around me, they're still, if you're not seeing a dietitian, and you're still thinking that you're going to lose this weight, but you're still going to have sausage roll for lunch and McDonald's for dinner and Coke as your fluid, you're not going to lose that weight.
You're not going to feel good,
and you're not going to feel good. And the addiction of feeling good is so good. I love feeling this well, and I love I found too on Manjaro, it really turned off the wanting a glass of wine. So for me, I had that thing. And it really kind of started even when Jackie was little. When I'd be preparing dinner, I'd just have a glass of wine while and that was my, it's the end of the day. And it was this
Reward.
And I just got in the habit of always having a glass of wine while I cooked dinner, even though I'd only have that, or I might then have one when my husband came home. But it's turned off that as well. Like I don't even feel like wine. And then once you stop drinking as much wine doesn't even taste that nice anymore. And then once you stop eating, and I still have a little bit of chocolate. I still have some dark chocolate sometimes. And I think the thing is that this new attitude I have is nothing's off limits. And whereas traditionally before, if I went on light and lazy, we called it, or counting calories, when you're telling yourself,
oh, this is bad and this is good.
yes, and I'm not allowed to have that. Well, I want what I can't have. Whereas now, if I want a little bit of that, I'll have a little bit of that, but I don't feel like very much of it. Or, if we go out to dinner, but I'm not going to be able to eat everything on that plate because they've given me way too much and don't feel like I have to just because I've paid for it.
Absolutely. But I don't know if you grew up like I did, which was that, we used to be told you have to eat all the dinner on your plate. And I can remember, and this sounds terrible, but it used to be like, think of all the starving children in Ethiopia. I can remember as a child crying, going, well, you can post it to them. I don't want to. I don't want
And if you
dinner.
didn't eat all that, you weren't allowed to have dessert.
Yeah, that's right. And so it was like all food was always a reward for something.
Yes.
So it is interesting. I mean, of course, our parents were only ever doing the best, but I feel like there's so many messages that we've been given over the years around food that it's a reward or you deserve it or whatever. And it's not, it's kind of moved on. Of course, we want to enjoy it, but it is meant to be fuel.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And I think not the whole world, but certainly circles that I'm in and that I'm observing is being fit and healthy and not drinking as much alcohol is the new cool. It's not as cool too. And my generation, my circle of friends, our very tight little circle of friends, the one big thing we have in common is wine. The boys love their Shiraz and the girls, we love our rosé or our Chardonnay. And every time we get together, it often was about, look at this bottle of wine I've got. This one's from this region. And it's, the boys are still in this a little bit. Us girls are kind of coming out the other side of it because a lot of my girlfriends have come on this journey with me, which has been lovely. And they've been inspired by me, which has been really lovely to.
I love that.
Yeah, it's been lovely. And being Australian as part of it, like we drink. Australians are drinkers. And our circle of friends, we go to the Hunter Valley for a weekend or a week and all the wineries and try all the wine. And if we're having dinner, look at this bottle of wine we brought. This one costs this much and try this one. This is a new blah, blah, blah. And it's very much a part of our circle. And you almost feel like, well, I don't want to drink that much now and I'll have a glass, but that's plenty for me. Or I'll have a gin and tonic or a, soda, but I'll have one. I don't feel like drinking a whole bottle with you anymore.
And were you worried about saying that, or do you feel like your friendship group have been pretty supportive of that?
One of my closest friends, just her mum passed away last year, and she just went bang, didn't want to drink anymore, and just through the journey of having to travel down and take care of her mum and all those things, that she just stopped drinking and didn't like drinking anymore. Out of the blue. We didn't see that coming. So then it was a similar time when I started my weight loss journey that all of a sudden we would drink together all the time with our husbands and she's not. So I was like, oh, I have one. And I'm like, I'm not stopping just because you've stopped. You know that, right? But I wouldn't really feel like as much. And then I just went off the taste of it, to be honest, too. And then my other best friend who really loves her Chardonnay, she's like, well, we can't be friends anymore. What are you doing? You have that kind of thing at first, whereas now she's not feeling as much like it and as often as well. So and when absolutely not alcoholics or that's it's not an issue for us. We all stop in the week and it's more of a social when we get together. But I just don't feel like it. And it's kind of happening with the girls. The husbands aren't there yet.
They're not quite on board yet.
They're not quite on board yet. And I'm almost like a born again Christian with my husband, judging him a little bit. And this is the other thing that happens, I think, as a couple, we're nearly empty nesters and we've made it through the worst of menopause of me being super cranky and now I'm judgy pants with what he's eating. And I'll go to bed because I go to bed a bit earlier and I'll go, I can hear you eating ice cream. Your spoon's clinking. I can hear it. And I'll be like, now I'll go, I'll take his red wine glass away and wash it up. Or he'll go, we're having some chocolate because he's a chocoholic. And I'll go get us a piece each. And he goes, are we on rations? I'm like, yes, we are. But he's not loving, going through it. But I'm there. And I know you've got to be careful when you're a born again eating well person and not
So everyone's not ready to strangle you.
just because and just because I'm on this journey doesn't mean everybody around me
Not
wants
become
to be.
evangelical about it all.
Yeah, that's right.
I've actually just recorded a podcast with an amazing lady from Western Australia called Sarah Rusbach, and she's all about grey area drinking, and that's women who are, they don't have alcohol addiction or anything like that, but they're not teetotal either.
Yeah.
But that drinking that just kind of creeps in.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, it starts off with one glass, but then it's two, and then it's meant, 2 nights a week, but then it's nearly every night a week, and then how that impacts your health and wellness.
Yes.
And it is really interesting, because socially, particularly in Australia, alcohol is so interwoven into the culture that it's nearly like, you have to make an apology as to why you're not drinking.
Exactly. Do you find as a doctor too, when you say to people, how many drinks a week do you have? Are they mostly lying?
But we were always taught in medical school to, usually add at least 20 to 30% onto anything anyone says. But, you're always hoping that you can have a good enough rapport with people that they'll tell you the truth. But, sometimes people don't even tell themselves the truth.
That's right.
Because they might fall asleep on the sofa after, drinking wine, and they go up to bed when the lights are out. And then they realize, actually, I drank that whole bottle of wine.
And that's what was happening to me. I would fall asleep. And I'm happy if you were at our house, if you and your husband came to our house to have dinner and I was still drinking, I would put my head down here and go to sleep and not even be feeling bad about it. I'm like, I'm tired and I'm going to go to sleep now. Or I would go up to bed and I just think I was sneaking off and you might not notice. But it wasn't because I was so tired. It was because I had drunk, probably more than 3 glasses of wine. And COVID for us too, that lockdown thing, what are we going to do? Well, we drank wine and we were drinking a bottle a night each really during that time. And then you're going, oh, hang on a minute. And then you've got to kind of undo that somehow. And I guess that's probably happened to a lot of people. But now I can honestly say, if you ask me as my doctor, I'm having maybe 2 glasses of wine a week.
Amazing.
Or maybe 2 gin and tonics a week now. And it's because that's all I feel like. And I'm happy with that. And I'm only doing it because I'm keeping my husband company mostly. It's because he's
leading you astray.
He wants to do cheers on a Sunday afternoon, and we're watching a movie, or a Saturday night, and I will to be with him. But that's the other thing is, in your circle of friends, it's learning how to not feel like you're not fitting in anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe thinking about instead of making an activity around drinking, can we all go and do something new or exciting or different?
Yeah.
Or the other option, I suppose, is it's massive in the UK and Ireland. I think it's getting here now, but it's all those alcohol-free drinks that are now coming in, and alcohol-free wine and alcohol-free
So
beer.
far they taste terrible, but there's probably some out there now that taste better. But I dabbled in that and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, I have heard there's some really, I think they did this taste test I saw online with all these really distinguished brewers, and they let them taste this beer and they didn't tell them
really?
it was alcohol-free, and they asked them to could they rate how much alcohol was in it and what was it made from, blah blah blah, and they all were rating it with different amounts of alcohol, and they all were like, we're loving this beer. And then they were told at the end that there was no alcohol in it, and apparently at the end 2 of them wanted to invest in the company because they thought it tasted so amazing. So I think, sometimes in our mind we've got this idea that it's not going to taste so good as well. Gina, you have been so generous with sharing your story and your journey. I would love to finish off by saying sometimes menopause and perimenopause, it can feel like a bit of a heavy conversation. I know women will often say this feels really scary to me, and even women who've maybe never they're not quite at that stage. They're like, oh, I don't want to ever go through this. It sounds awful.
Yeah.
And I'd love our conversation to end on a more hopeful note. So if anyone is just about to go into perimenopause and is feeling scared, or anyone's in there and they're struggling, what kind of hope or what kind of tips would you give anyone who's listening?
Get help and talk to your girlfriends. Make sure, because I think the generation before me didn't talk about it at all. So you had no information. Now we have so much information, listen to podcasts like you. But get help, see your doctor, get your blood tests. And I think part of what needs to happen next is women need to know what I've learnt sooner. Like, I imagine if I had have known this, in my early 40s, it would
Instead of 16 years of hell.
that's right, 16 years of hell. So I think get help and know that all those things that I put up with, you don't have to live like that. It's not like, if you broke your arm, you wouldn't not put it in a sling. It's like if you want to, and not everyone, some people want to power through it, and that's okay. But if you don't want to be like I was, cranky, put on weight, skin goes to shit, foggy, hot, not sleeping, all those things, there you can get help now. It's like, just see your doctor and get help, and do it proudly. Share it with your friends, like I've done with my girlfriends. I've shared everything with them, and I've done it on the radio as well, as and I've had women come up to me from the breakfast radio show that I'm on saying, thank you for talking about menopause. We didn't know, we love Dr. Shauna now that we know Dr. Shauna from listening to your show, and thank you for sharing it and making it more normal to talk about it, because it's not taboo. We're women, and it's okay to talk about it, and it's okay to get help. And you don't need to go through 16 years like I did. As soon as you start feeling those symptoms, or see your doctor, see Dr. Shauna, or see your doctor and get help.
Yeah.
And I feel, like I said earlier, I feel the best I've felt in 10 years. And this is not the end of your womanhood. It's not the end of you, being this beautiful person up until you were in your 40s, or however old it might be that menopause comes to meet you. It's actually the beginning, because for me, I feel so much more empowered. I feel so much more confident. This little veil fell off where I will speak my mind more easily, and I feel stronger. I actually love this time of life. I think, this for us again now, up until this point, in your 20s, you're just fumbling around, having fun. Your 30s, for me, I was trying to get pregnant nearly all of my 30s. 40s, I was kind of, suffering through menopause. 50s feels like now the kids are almost off our hands. We've parented. Rod's two older ones are older, and Jackie, our youngest one, he's almost living out of home. He's fine. We've raised him. Now it's time for me to take care of myself, and it's a great time to be a woman and to look after yourself and to make life. You've just spent talking to myself. I've just spent the last 23 years looking after another human and a husband who really, it's like having two kids for me. Now, I want this age now is like, it's for us. Now we're stronger than ever, and this is the beginning of something fabulous, I think.
I agree. And what is next for you, Gina? Personally, professionally, where are we going to see you go next? Because it seems like you've got this massive spark back. I'm loving it.
Thank you. Look, I'm looking at recording some new songs, because I am a singer by trade. That's where I started.
It's going to be a Dr. Shauna song.
Yeah,
Or a Menopause song.
We'll call that woman Perry. Maybe.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, so recording, we're going on tour next year, doing a fun tour idea that we've been presented with, which I'm excited about. So looking at getting in recording again, making some more music. And I'm just really, I'm silly busy, like too busy, and I just want to, moving forward, keep ticking boxes that fulfill me. And, I do miss singing. I miss the stage. I love breakfast radio. It's a form of the stage. But finding that balance, I think moving forward is trying to be happy and do things for myself, exercise, eat well, stay well, be a good friend, be a good wife, a good mum, I think I can be a better wife now that I'm not cranky all the time. But yeah, I think it's just now moving forward. There's no It's not like, oh, I want to conquer the world, with a new album or as a singer or anything like that. I just wouldn't want to do things that make me happy and to fill my cup, whatever that might look like. And I think it's an ever evolving thing. I can't say it's this one thing that's going to do that. But just keep trying to be better at being me and keeping the cup full.
And are you enjoying actually maybe putting yourself first for a little while?
Absolutely. And guilt-free.
Yeah.
I went and had a massage the other day and I would normally be like, oh God, I've got all this to do at home. I've got to do that and that and that and that. I was like, no, I'm going to go and have a massage and just lie there and enjoy it. And coming in and having facials at your place. Oh my God, I just lie back there and feel like I'm in LA in some, incredible place where it makes me emotional sometimes too when I'm in there at yours having some of the beautiful skincare stuff that you guys do. That how nice is it to be doing something for myself? Because I think as women, we spend most of the time when we've got children living in the house, everything we do is for them. And it's just such a lovely shift to go and to not feel guilty about it.
Yeah, feel worthy.
Feel worthy. Yes. I'm woman. Hear me roar.
Yay! Thank you so much. I have loved our conversation so much. Thank you for coming in. I could talk to you all day.
Oh, me too. Thank you, Shauna. You're so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Here are my 3 takeaways from today's conversation with Gina Jeffreys. Listen to your body early. The subtle signs, sleep, mood, energy, skin, often tell the story before the blood tests do. You're not losing yourself. You're evolving. Menopause can be a turning point for growth and self-connection. Support changes everything, whether it's through programs like Rediscover You or your own trusted healthcare team. You don't have to go through this alone. Gina, thank you for sharing your story with such openness and heart. It's voices like yours that help normalize these conversations and remind us that midlife isn't the end of something, it's the beginning of something new. If you'd like to learn more about the 16-week Rediscover You program, you'll find the link in the show notes. And remember, this information is general in nature and not intended to replace personalized medical advice. Always consult with your personal healthcare provider. Until then, I'm Dr. Shauna Watts, and this has been All About You.